RetroDaze.
On our recent trip to RetroCon in September, our producer tasked the team with scouring the sprawling vendor space for any old toys that didn't look familiar. He said, with conviction, "I'm sure we'll find at least a few options for another episode of Forgotten Toys of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Well, loyal viewer, he wasn't wrong. It seemed like every twist and turn through the labyrinth and alleys of RetroCon left us stumbling directly into another shelf overflowing with unrecognizable toys.
Now sure, there were plenty of the familiar Transformers, Masters of the Universe, Smurfs, Thundercats, My Little Pony, and other all-time favorites. But, to our delight, there were also stranger items of molded plastic and painted vinyl calling out for closer inspection, toys of which we had no recollection. Each of these was added to our ever-growing list, and today we present yet another 5 Forgotten Toys.
The Snuggle Bums appeared on Earth a very long, long time ago.
The Snuggle Bums, a whole family of lovable, huggable little people that giggle when you wiggle them. Dolls sold separately. Snuggle Bums have long, soft hair you can brush, and they keep you company at night because Mama and Papa light up with happiness when you hug them. Batteries not included. The Snuggle Bums from Play School. Each doll sold separately with storybook and brush.
Snuggle Bums. Did writer Tony choose this toy merely to make me utter the ridiculous and embarrassing name, Snuggle Bums? Surely he wasn't so juvenile as to pick a toy for the hallowed Forgotten list because forcing me to repeat Snuggle Bums over and over made him giggle like an inmate at Arkham. No, that just doesn't sound like Tony, who has remained a consummate professional since we've been working together all these months. Snuggle Bums. Well, I stand corrected. The toy in question was also released in other countries under a variety of names, including... Oh, come on. Seriously? Producer Tony, do I really have to say this? Uh-huh. And you're sure? Contractually what? Okay, alright. Fine. Snuggle Bums were also released in other countries under a variety of names, including Trolley Wolies in Holland, Nufflebunt in Germany, and, oh boy, Les Bum Bum in France. Play School made the toys in 1984, after which production changed hands and Milton Bradley took over from 1985 onward. The series was made up of a cast of cute alien characters with furry backs and interactive elements such as the Baby series, Giggling When Shook, and the Adult series, Lighting Up When Hugged. Like so many toys of the time, Play School and MB didn't stop there and also released Snuggle Bums Bugs, Pets, PVC minifigures, puzzles, books, the Snuggle Bums family game, and other ephemera. The larger toys with furry backs came with color-coordinated brushes so kids could groom their family of Snuggle Bums, not unlike My Little Pony figures. In fact, it's not inconceivable to think Play School's release was meant to capitalize on Hasbro's success with other similarities like pastel coloring and heart symbols on the toys. But one thing we can all agree that My Little Pony didn't have was the name. Snuggle freaking Bums. I will never forgive you for this.
Power-trons, they're alive. In a secret lab, his Professor Zahn. His inventions are called the Power-trons. Their secret is they're machines that drive, but in an instant, they're really alive. Power-trons, they're alive.
Python and Destroyed have evil ways, but up jump Sumar and Turboid to save the day.
Power-trons, they're alive.
Power-trons, each sold separately by Ertl.
Coming up in the second spot is a forgotten toy that, for once, you can actually find fairly cheap on eBay, Power-trons, released by Ertl in 1985. These interactive toy cars are part robot and transform when their bumpers hit a wall or solid object. According to TheLiberator.net, they have friction flywheel motors that drive the rubber wheels in both robot and vehicle modes. When a Power-tron collides with an obstacle in vehicle mode, a button on the bumper is pressed, causing the robot form to spring out and drive back away from the obstruction. Like so many toys of its kind back in the 80s, Powertrons were actually licensed copies of a Japanese toy called Attack Change Machine Powertrons, made by Fujisho. The single series release only included 4 styles: Destroyed, Zoomer, Turboid, and Phytron, plus a Knight Rider version of Turboid that came with a minor repaint and new stickers. Though not confirmed, it seems the US versions of these toys came in blister packs, while overseas they got window-fronted boxes. Watching these toys in action, I had 2 competing thoughts, which is likely why they had such a short run. The first thought is, holy cow, that's freaking cool. The second thought, sadly, is, that's gonna get boring real fast.
You know, I never really noticed how downright creamy voiceover John sounds. And hey, if you want to continue being serenaded about nostalgia by his dulcet tones, why not give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification bell. Now, let's get back to that sweet, sweet voiceover.
Animax! It's the time of Animax!
When evil battles good.
Animax!
Enter the time of Animax, and you become Extinctor.
Feels alive and looks like a real machine.
You lead the Motor Mutants.
Torrendous and Pulverizer!
Grease Kicker and Dreadful Dreadster!
Gross out and roll on!
Prepare to destroy Max Action and the Road Trainers when you enter the time of
Animax!
The story of Animax is a tragic one, yet all too familiar to children of the 80s. When the toy line first appeared at the 1986 Toy Fair, created by Mel Burnkrant and Shaper Toys, there was a ton of buzz, making it look like the new series would be the next big thing. But before that could happen, Tyco swooped in and bought out Shaper. Reportedly, Tyco was mainly interested in acquiring the rights to Stompers, Eddie Goldfarb's creation, discussed in great detail in our 3rd installment of Forgotten Toys, Even More Forgotten Toys of the 80s. According to Mel Burnkrant, the classic games Cootie, Ticklebee, Ants in the Pants, and Don't Spill the Beans were later sold to Milton Bradley, who at the time was owned by Hasbro. But all the other scraps were thrown away. Thus, Animax, Ghostbusters, Tender Toys, Super Jocks, and a line of fuzzy pussycats called Strays all went astray. Despite the initial consumer and retailer interest, when it came time to finally produce the toys, they went about it half-heartedly, resulting in lackluster sculpts, unpainted figures that lacked detail, and no real marketing push to speak of. Gone were the dreams of a tie-in cartoon to help push sales, and in its place, Star Comics released a 4-part comic, which was too little, too late. The Thundercats meets Wheeled Warriors toys had a lot going for them, including an interesting story, decent package art, and interactive vehicles which were part animal, part machine. But without marketing and with the production shortcomings, Animax quickly faded into obscurity.
Someday I'm gonna be an acrobat. I'm gonna be in the Olympics. I'm gonna be Golden Girl.
Golden Girl!
And have flowing blonde hair, a magical shield and sword. Together with Ruby, Jade, and Onyx, we'll defeat Dragon Queen, Wild One, and Voltora.
Golden Girl and the Guardians of the Gemstone!
Golden Girl and the Guardians of the Gemstone, each sold separately, new from Galoob.
Upon first glance, Golden Girl and the Guardians of the Gemstones looks like an obvious She-Ra Princess of Power ripoff. Surely, just Galoob pulling a dirty trick on Mattel by recreating their intellectual property. Only, not so fast. According to a deep dive found on the Plastic Heroines wiki, the timeline of trademark and copyright filings muddies the water quite a bit. Specifically, the trademark for She-Ra Princess of Power was received November 20, 1984, and active May 21, 1985, while Golden Girl and the Guardians of the Gemstones trademark was received December 4, 1984, and active July 30, 1985. Technically, Mattel did come first, but the dates would suggest one of 2 scenarios. Either these 2 properties just happened to be dreamed up around the same time and were in parallel development, or there was some kind of corporate espionage going on from one or both companies. What we can say with some measure of confidence is that Galoob was inspired by Mattel's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and they decided to release a standalone toy line in the same vein entirely for girls. In the mythical world of Golden Girl, the majority of the characters were female, broken into good and evil forces, with only 2 token male figures. Though one might expect these to be generic and of lesser quality, in fact, the figures were made very well. According to the Plastic Heroines wiki, the figures had rooted hair, boldly decorated facial features, heavy eyeshadow in most cases, and torsos that had slightly molded abdominal muscles. They have cloth capes with sewn-on snaps, die-cast shields, removable headpieces, sword belts, and all come with gold plastic combs made to look like axes. Unfortunately, despite the well-crafted toys, they were going up against a nearly identical new toy line that existed within the established He-Man universe. Making matters worse, although there did appear to be some cartoon elements created for marketing, a full animated series tie-in for Golden Girl did not come to fruition.
I am Golden Girl, and only I can save Argonia. I will battle Dragon Queen and her evil army, Wild One, Voltura, Moth Lady, and Ogra. Fighting beside me are Sapphire, Ruby, Onyx, Jade, and Prince Krona. And no matter what dark magic Dragon Queen conjures, I will not surrender, because I am Golden Girl, guardian of the gemstone.
Of course, She-Ra, Princess of Power started airing in concert with toy sales and also, to some degree, took the place of He-Man's animated series, which would end 2 months later. Still, the Golden Girl series did manage to release 3 waves of fashion accessories for the figures, plus all the expected merchandise and games that went along with toy lines of the day, such as Find Your Own Fate books, activity books, storybooks, a sticker calendar, jigsaw puzzles, a board game, 3D color forms, a Thermos brand lunchbox, drinking cups, a sleeping bag, and wearable metallic brooches. This next toy had such a small run and was such an oddity that we couldn't even find a commercial for it, if in fact any commercials had ever been produced for the fantastic world of the inter-changeables. In 1981, Mego Corporation ceased operations and ended production of Micronauts, a successful and well-loved toy line that ran through the 70s. While specific information is hard to come by, it seems another company, Our Toy, got hold of Mego's Micronauts molds, which were used to produce the Interchangeables figures and playsets in 1985. This new series saw the familiar figures in bright neon colors and made with cheaper plastic that could become brittle and had ill-fitting joints. An even smaller second run was produced by M&D Toys, still using Mego's old molds, but switching up color schemes once again. This close relationship to Micronauts and their relatively short run makes these toys highly collectible in certain niches, despite their lower quality manufacturing and only a weak connection to the beloved Micronauts.
That brings us to the end of yet another Forgotten Toys segment, but you can bet we're far from done with a large, compiled list of user suggestions and even more from RetroCon 2024. Even so, it never hurts to toss out some more recommendations because you never know when one of your favorite forgotten toys might appear in an episode. So tell us, what are some other forgotten toys worthy of the series? You know, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments, and if you enjoy our content, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe even activating that ubiquitous notification bell. It really does make a huge difference. Let's meet again next week to celebrate Yesteryear, right here on RetroDaze. And for only the most resolute of RetroDaze viewers who watch all the way to the bitter end of the episode, I leave you with a final parting gift. Snuggle Bums.
Clicky clacky.